Welcome to the Canvas Kings podcast. We are your hosts, the Canvas Kings, here to break down the biggest moments in pro wrestling and shine a spotlight on the underground indie scene. Every week, we'll bring you backstage stories, exclusive interviews with your favorite grapplers, and expert analysis that hits harder than a steel chair. Whether it's a sold-out arena main event or a gritty warehouse showdown, we've got the moves, the takedowns, and the unexpected twist. So lock in your seatbelt, tighten your headlock, tune in now, and let's get ready to rumble. The Canvas Kings are stepping into the ring.
Welcome back to the Canvas Kings podcast, where we peel back the paint on wrestling, creativity, and the people who make the stories work. Today, we're talking to a guy you've seen 100 times, even if you don't know his name. He's the senior referee of Asylum Pro Wrestling. He's the heartbeat of the ring, the steady voice, and the chaos. And according to his Facebook bio, he's a full-time awesome dude, part-time referee who can't see anything, but is still awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Connor Barth. Connor, my man, welcome to the Canvas Kings podcast. First question, though, do you really not see anything, or is that part of the referee job?
Thank you for having me, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
I see as much as I can. That's what I'll say. If I could get a second pair of eyes, I could see a lot more. And whoever's willing to put down the money for that surgery, sign me up. Sign me up. But I see as much as I can. And I'm usually telling you guys that.
Oh, yeah. At the moments of where people have you turned around in different positions so you can't see certain things.
Sometimes small children are at a ringside. Sometimes, there's people trying to climb in the ring. I got to deal with that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So heads turn. Sometimes you don't catch everything. And for
Heads
that,
turned and I'm somewhere else.
they
Yes.
just call you blind and everything else. And this.
I've heard it all.
Oh, the
Peter
abuse he
Griffin.
takes, the
They call me
abuse.
Peter Griffin.
All right, Mike, you go ahead. Start Connor off with a couple.
All right, we're
Yeah.
gonna get started with Connor. Let me ask Connor. Let's start at the beginning. You grew up in Ellesmere, Delaware, which is around, I'm sure, like the Delmarva area, in that area, Wilmington. What was little Connor like growing up as a kid? And did wrestling? How did you get attracted to that?
Well, I was a troublemaker, so it's so funny that my part-time career choice was a rule follower. But yeah, I was a little troublemaker. I got into wrestling, and it's the weirdest way because in my household, wrestling wasn't not allowed per se, but my dad was not a wrestling fan, so it was not encouraged. It was kind of like, if you're gonna go do that, you go do that on your own time, kind of thing. And then my sister actually bought one of the games. She bought WWE 12, I think, with Randy Orton on the front, or it's 12 or 13. And I just got hooked from there. I'd heard about it. I remember the Big Show is someone that I was introduced to as an elementary school person. And I knew who he was, but it wasn't like I was a fan or anything like that. It's more I knew of these people. But yeah, as I got the game, then I was like, okay, let me check out this show. And I got into wrestling right around WrestleMania 31. So it was coming out of a really bad time, but it wasn't exactly really good, as kind of the past 5 years, I'd say, have kind of been a revolution in wrestling. A lot of wrestling is popping up. Whereas in when 2017, 2018, when I was getting into it, it was still not like that. It was still hey, I watch wrestling. You watch wrestling too? But now it's oh, you all watch wrestling. That's cool. Yeah, I've been around the block a little bit.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, you graduated from the Delaware Military Academy. Now,
Yes.
That's no joke. That takes a lot of discipline itself. How did the discipline shape you into the referee that you are at this point in your career and beyond?
Good question. A regimen is really important. A schedule, certain set of things, being in a routine. My job as a referee is the same in every match. The stipulation might be different. There might be different rules to the match, but my job is the same. And that repetition and that perseverance, that's the lessons that I took from that. And me being in a uniform, a lot of people who are wrestling are wearing tights, or they're wearing the long, kind of athletic pants. I wear slacks, a belt, and a shirt that's tucked in. That's important because it shows professionalism. It also shows that I take my job seriously, you know?
Absolutely.
Very good. Absolutely. Very good point.
Okay, got a question for you. You started reffing in 2017, basically right after high school. How does a young guy go from watching wrestling to stepping in the ring with a striped shirt? Walk us through that first match. What went right? What went wrong?
So yeah, that summer of 2017, close to 2018, I, was watching for a while. I lived with a roommate who also was like heavily involved and like a fan, but had also done some wrestling around the indies up in northern Delaware where I'm from. And he was coming kind of jumping from school to school. He didn't even stay at Asylum very long, but he jumped from a lot of different places. So he's kind of had like a wide view of what's going on and knew that I liked it and said, why not? Why go try? If you really like it, you should just go do it. If that's
Yeah.
how much you love it, you should give to it. So I went to Asylum and met Crazy Shay outside the building. He was the first person I met, followed shortly by, at the time, El Gigantor, but is now Orso Polare.
Yeah.
He was the second person I met. I've known these guys since 2017, 2018. It's 7, 8 years. The first match I reffed was between Crazy Shay and one of the trainers at the school. His name was Josh. And they were putting on an exhibition bout for the people coming to check out the school and the families of, all the students. So they didn't have a referee. I was very new. I hadn't even taken my first bump yet. And they said, hey, we need you here. You are technically a student, so let's put you on the show. And I reffed that match. And I'll say things that I took away were being attentive as well as being in the right position. You want to make sure that,
Ring
peeking
awareness.
behind the curtain, I need to also not only be able to see the action that's going on, also be out of the way of the crowd as much as possible so that the people that are paying to see the show are seeing the show, and also being out of the way of the cameras as well, who are capturing what's going on. Giving, but also not taking away. I would say that my first match, it is the best seat in the house. It's as close as the action as anybody in the building. I am right there. And it's sometimes distracting is not the word, but you're taking in what's going on. And that can sometimes not make you attentive.
Yeah,
It
you
takes
and the
away from your
videographer are
focus.
about the two closest people because, sometimes you could wind up kicking the videographer by accident.
Kicking the videographer. Sometimes I'm in a corner and the wrestlers go to the corner and I almost die.
You have to
Like
slide, dies.
As you can see in the last couple of shows I've been on, I die quite a bit.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man.
You have taken your share, my friend. Really.
They can't say I'm not tough. I might die afterwards, but
Now,
I'll
see-
come back.
That was the other thing. Really wasn't mentioned. You, at one point along this journey here, you wound up having a moniker attached to your name, not just senior referee. You were the Iron Man ref.
Absolutely.
Because at one point, Asylum only had just you.
Just me.
And you
For
did.
the first year and a half to 2 years, actually. And
Whether you were
sometimes in
beat
between.
up, whether you were beat up and you had to come out for that next match.
Yup.
Yes.
Oh,
Before the ref journey, I wasn't, I didn't get into this to be a ref. To peel back a little bit more, I was going to be a wrestler. They had me with a gimmick. I was going to be the rockabilly. It was kind of be like alt rock. I dyed my hair black. It was a bad decision. But yeah, I was gonna wrestle, but my right ankle has always been kind of weak, and during my training, I really, it's not ballet, and I learned that lesson very hard. And from there, I had to make a decision. I could keep pushing my head against the grindstone, and I could have broken through, or I could take what I'm good at and excel.
yeah.
And while there is 20 wrestlers on the card, there's only one ref in some cases, and that was me a lot of the time.
Yes,
I man ref a whole show and then ref a 5-on-5 Survivor Series match.
I mean, you stood in a ring with Jason Knight, Gary Wolf, ECW fame, just in case nobody realizes it.
HC Loc.
HC Loc. He was one of the first ones to come over to Asylum. Let's see, Shane Douglas. List goes on for you, man. I mean, for being such a young referee, you're quite accomplished.
I do greatly appreciate that, but I also the road's still going.
Yeah.
You know, and it's only I'd say maybe in chapter 2. There's maybe like 6, 7 chapters. I'm excited for what's next.
There you
And
go.
this last year more than any, I've worked more places than I ever have, and it's been a privilege.
What were some of the places you've worked so far besides Asylum, of course?
So yeah, while still maintaining my position as the head referee at Asylum, I ventured to Riot Maker Pro, which is in West Virginia.
Okay.
Delaware Wrestling Digest. Hasn't been a lot of other referees so far, so I'd go out on a limb and say that I'm probably head ref there too. And SSW, I just recently became a part of the roster. They did a great charity show for their own. Was going through a medical crisis, but has thankfully pulled through. So they will be
Right.
back in the new year. And there's some irons in the fire. I'll say that. There's some potential more places to go. You know,
Okay.
I can believe I can go out and say that I've had multiple offerings to go up and see Mr. Caden up in New York. However, it
Nice.
is very far, and I know he has done the drive way more times than I have. But it is a distance. But I know for a fact before I'm done with the striped shirt, I'm going to be up there at least once.
Always look ahead for the dream.
Well,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the thing is too, is like you are pretty much limitless to where, like you said, you can go with, Delman, Riot, Make Pro, even going up to UPW with Mr. Caden. And you, and I know, touched on Manny's question, you have probably put a lot of miles on some vehicles over the years. For the listeners who don't understand what it takes to do that, to have that determination and the will to go do that. Talk a little bit about what it does take to put miles on cars, because people don't understand, exactly what goes through that. What goes on with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, where I come from in Delaware, it's a 4-hour drive to Asylum. That's one way. So, sometimes we luck out, we get a hotel, if we have the extra change, but times is tough. So sometimes we don't. And that's a 4-hour drive right after a show. And, when we were first starting out in the Asylum training school, that was a week of flying. That's like miles and miles a day for that last day, then go into show setup, then go into the show itself, and then there's always the hours after that you're breaking down. People help as much as they can, but still, that's time, And then that's also, if I'm the only ref on that show, that means I've been working the whole night. I get an intermission break, and then I go right back into it. I would say, just this is how personally I operate. If I have less matches on the show, that just means on those matches I'm going even harder. So it's equaling out. Like I'm not going to give you a subpar performance, or I'm not going to do my job any less as I have less matches. As head ref, that's also assigning referees to matches. I have to know the whole show card. I have to know who's all going on where. There's show callouts. We got to adjust for that. There's a lot that goes into a show. And then it also goes into a lot of repairing and recovering from a show.
Very well said. Very well said. I have another question here for you, Connor. Like the craft of the business, because everybody thinks the refs just count, but you're also like the invisible storyteller of the whole entire match, or the whole, or whatever matches you are refereeing at the time. So what can you tell us a little bit about that without getting into too much?
Well, when I was taught, the biggest lesson that I was taught is we are the mother hen of the match. We're there to make sure the performers are okay. We're here to make sure that, that the fans are safe and okay. Yes, we are watching and counting and laser focused on the match. We're constantly need to be aware of our surroundings. Now, blind ref, there's a lot that goes on at Asylum. I don't know if you guys know. So you can only do so much with that. I try my best. I try my best. Please believe me, guys. I try.
Oh,
What
we know you
also
do.
goes in. Yeah, I appreciate that. This is my case. I have to make my case now. No, but there is a lot that does go into that. And being the person who is in, the I'm the representation of the rules of the match. If someone breaks the rules, I have to enforce that. If someone is cheating, I have to try and stop that, you know? So essentially, there's not a winner without the referee. So that's the story. So we're deciding who's going over at the end of the day. We're gonna be there. We're the first. We have the closest viewing to what's going on in the building, and we have to use that to the best of our advantage. And sometimes that vision gets a little skewed. There's a lot that goes on. There's a lot of people who aren't in the match who are out there sometimes.
They're trying to catch everybody all in one shot.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
In a tag team match where there's 3 teams and all of a sudden there's 6 guys in the ring, it's hard to remember who's legal, who are the 2 legal men, because if any of the other 4 go to pin, it doesn't count, and I have to remember that. Because if I count that pin, I'm screwing over the 2 people in the match who are the legal competitors, and then they have a reason to go to management and be like, hey, this referee is screwing me out of my match.
Yeah.
Understandable. And that kind of leads into the next question. It pretty much covers that, is like, what goes on through your mind during a match, like a 6-man tag team match, or where you do have to keep control of the mass chaos once it really gets going.
Yeah. I mean, per place, it is ref discretion. So I try my discretion. If everyone hits the ring, gotta let him breathe for a second. I can't fight off 6 guys. There's no way. There's no way. I could get 2 of them situated, and then the 4 behind me are gonna pull out something and hit someone with something that, there's just too much going on. So just the match is gonna kind of take on a life of its own. My job is to sit there and wait for the finish. Make sure that the person who has earned the right to win is the one who wins.
Right.
Nice. Now, without exposing too much, I'm sure the fans would like to know, how does the ref and the performers communicate in the ring during a match?
Can't give away all our secrets.
I know.
Yeah, there's one that I think is safe for everyone to understand. This is what's the X. Someone is really hurt, unable
Yeah.
to continue the match. There are, certain signals and signs I won't get into, but there are some ways that we can communicate during the match, to ensure that, people are on the same page, and usually some of that time as well, I'm reinforcing rules when I'm talking to somebody. I'm telling them, hey, this rule, what you just did is not okay, cannot happen again. And sometimes that is really loud. Sometimes I'm just right here telling them that, hey, what you did is not okay. I'm watching you.
Well, you've been at Asylum Pro Wrestling since 2017, almost a decade. How did the place become home for you? Your Facebook literally says you're that one guy in the striped shirt who's in every match. What does that workload feel like?
A lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of responsibility. It is, it, like you guys said in a previous question, you're the third person, the storyteller in the match. That would be me the entire night. So it's a lot of responsibility. The first time that it happened, I reffed my first match. Then they gave me the Iron Man position. They just gave me the rest of the night. That's
And
because one of the other referees got hurt. So I
Yeah.
had to pick that up. And that's the time where you put on your big boy pants. You say, this is an opportunity that I was given. I need to run with this ball. And Asylum's the place that gave me that opportunity. And, I will say that the Asylum locker room has been a revolving door for years. There's been a lot of people that have come in and a lot of people who've left. But I feel like somehow, with a few select group of people, we've kind of fallen into the middle of the revolving door, and we, are just there now. It's
Yeah.
just we're one of the plankers at Asylum.
Yeah.
I've been here since the first show. I'm invested in where the company is going because I've put time into this. And I think a lot of the people that are still there would say the same thing, that we've put time into it. We want it to grow. That's why we
Absolutely.
put the time in.
Yeah,
I think me and Manny say that after every show.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Guys, I'm just taking what you've told me and just giving it
Yeah.
back to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wait, do you even that you don't even have time to breathe during show nights, do you?
Sometimes. So let me add the flowers where they're due. Ref Kevin, my guy, he is a goat. He has helped the workload so much. Recently, we had Ref Stabbies came in, and he refed. We gave him the main event. We said, "Hey, kid, go get it."
Yeah.
And he did phenomenal. And Kevin deserves those opportunities too. I've got a great team of refs with me right now, and I would love more. But, sometimes on show nights, back when I'd Ironman ref, and I've had to Ironman ref within the year down in Delaware Wrestling Digest, got to a show and was told, hey, there's no other refs, bud. Have fun. There's 10 matches. Go get it. Go get it. And guess what? I went and got it. I slept for a day and a half, but I got it. But yeah, these days though,
Asylum Pro moment that you've ever had to control from inside the ring.
there was the 5-on-5 Survivor Series we did with the Eureka a couple of years ago. And a lot of that, because I had Ironmanned, usually throughout the night, referees will check in with the wrestlers in the match, be like, hey, you guys need anything from me, anything at all? And they'll, tell me what they need or they won't. But that was a position where I didn't get to talk to anybody. There was no pre-conversation. A lot of what happened was Ref Connor reacting in the moment,
Right.
and that was a lot. You're managing 10 people.
Yeah.
All at once, and counting pinfalls wherever they occur because it's an elimination style match. It is important for those pinfalls to be accurate. Yeah.
Now, here's one other question. You had said you saw the show, the last show, and we had Marcus Waters on the show.
Yes.
And Marcus has said he will be the ref killer if he has to get his title back. Can you give us a response on his comment?
Mr. Waters, I've been as honest, as straightforward as possible. I'm not trying to screw you. If you feel you need to attack refs, well, then we need to escalate it up the chain of command and talk to Asylum management because you can't just be doing that. You can't be attacking referees like that. That's not going to help you win the match. I mean, maybe dropping the manager who keeps getting involved, you might win your match, but I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I can't be, if I'm the reason that you don't have your title, I guess I'm going to be the reason you get it back. I guess I don't have any
True.
other comment.
With the way that all happened, you were attacked that same night, not once, but
Twice.
One by a gentleman called Van Williams from DOW, and
Yeah. My
then
back hurts still.
and Marcus later on that evening at the
Yeah.
end of the show. Yes.
Yeah, it sucks. There's no other way to put it. I give my all and I get kicked and dropped on my head. It's not a nice pill to swallow. I wish that Asylum management would get more involved with their referees and maybe get some punishments going because if they don't, it's just going to keep happening. And then who's going to step up to ref? Because I'll keep coming back. That's why I keep coming back because I love it and I love what I do. But when I'm not able to walk back, who else are we going to have?
Do you think it's a case that they're doing it because they like you that much more?
If that's how they show affection, maybe I just have to relearn what affection means.
That's good. That's good. And you have seen your share with that. Now, if the referees have like that one moment where everything goes completely sideways and off the rails, what is that moment for you? And how did you keep your composure in that match itself?
I mean, a cop-out answer would just be the coalition every time they're there. They just run in and ruin matches. But there has been times where, I can think back to, I don't remember the exact talent, but I know for a fact that I've counted a 3 when they've kicked out. Having to review the footage, having to, even if the call's wrong, I got to stick by my call. is
Yeah.
that's my integrity as a referee.
Yeah.
And I'm more than willing to go back, review footage, and admit I'm wrong. And I've made wrong calls. No referee is perfect. And we're going to be the first person people are going to go to blame because we're the ones who's laying down the law of who won the match or not. And you're going there to see Crazy Shay, and Crazy Shay doesn't win, and the ref messed up the pin. What? Like, I paid money to see Crazy Shay win. I paid money and bought a fedora to see Orso Polare win, and this ref, as he says, screwed him out of it. So now I'm mad at him. When maybe we could review the footage and be like, oh, it was just a mess up. You
Yeah.
just didn't see it. People make mistakes.
Absolutely. And that happens all the time. Like when things go wrong, whether it's miscommunications, injuries, botches, how do you communicate without letting the crowd know? Like, how do you communicate with the talent to like not let the crowd know what's going on?
I will say that when it comes to the injury of somebody or when it comes to their health, that the performance kind of stops for a moment. And then it just becomes about safety of the person in the ring. And that is very serious. That, I will be as discreet as I possibly can be, but you'll see me get right up in their ear and, you know, I'll see what's going wrong. And that's at my discretion, whether the match continues or not. That's something I don't know if people know, that the referee will stop the match that is the highest authority. If someone is hurt, cannot compete, because then that person's safety becomes my responsibility. And that is incredibly important. That to me, going kind of also answering a previous question that you said, the real challenge and responsibility of a referee is when someone's life, someone's health is in consideration or doubt at that point, the performance has to stop for their safety. That communication needs to be communicated without any roadblock, because it's in some cases, death.
Here's the next question I have for you, buddy. What is the weirdest or strangest thing that someone has whispered in your ear during a mid match?
I don't think he'll have a problem with me saying this, but I reffed a match a long time ago, with versus Chris Caden and Kindred of Vampire Kindred.
Yes.
And then they had just gotten up from a double down, and Caden just kind of like gets up to his feet and he's kind of like staggering, and he looks at Caden and just under his breath, just so me and him can hear, he goes, "I love you, buddy." And he just goes, "I hate you," and just hits him right in the face. No turnaround time. "I love you, I hate you," punched in the face.
And on that note, and man, you'll agree with this. I can see Caden doing that.
Yeah,
You know,
100%. 100%.
just because of the performer he is. Like, Manny and I know what kind of performer he is. Will, what kind of performer he is.
He's great. He just doesn't have the best attitude.
I think that I personally look at it as part of his heel persona, but he's phenomenal at what he does, and we can't
Very
deny
much.
that.
It's
So-
all about if you can make someone feel. And listen, whether you like him or hate him, when he says "cheer for me," you're gonna respond in some way. You can't help it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, got a question for you. You highlight Tiffany in your profile on Facebook and Instagram. Lovely pictures, by the way. How has she supported your wrestling journey?
She is the first person I ever dated that equally has held wrestling where I do. And whether I've asked her to go, whether things have gotten in the way, she has gone to every single show except one in the 4 years that we've dated. That is important for her to be there. She will fight me on it. I don't really feel that great. I've had a bad week at work, but I'm going to go. I'm going to go to the show. I don't really care. I'll just going to go. Having her backup. Listen, when I'm being carted out by Panda because I just died at the end of this show, she's the one behind the curtain who's like, "I'm here. Let's go rest. Let's go, heal."
Yeah.
There's no words I could give her except I love her with all my heart. She's such a good support for me and what I do.
And in this business, as a referee, having her behind you, like she is so supportive of what you do. Anyone who is in this business needs a woman like that behind him because this business is tough. And to have that
Rough.
support and love is what you need. And she's perfect.
She is.
And we love her, man. We consider her family, and she's great.
I greatly appreciate that, but just don't let her hear this because I'll never hear the end of it.
Well, when you're not being a full-time awesome dude, what's your life look like outside the ring?
I mean, I got a 9 to 5 just like everybody else. I am fortunately a debt collector, so that is fun. Outside of work, covering from work, uh, I'm avid gamer. I like to game. Hanging out with the missus, hanging out with some of the locker room, avid hangouts. Very low key person. Am I like super partied up? I like to come home and relax. I would say I'm more of a homebody than I am an outside person. But I'll go out, hang out. I'll go out.
What some of the guys do you hang with? Or
I
are we
can't,
just gonna keep that?
cannot expose that. But yeah, it is a lot of fun.
We will
It is
run you
good
through.
seeing them people.
Maybe we'll run you under next time.
Absolutely.
When
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about this, Manny and I, before we get to the next question. Is remember we were talking about like around a certain holiday having a couples
Yeah.
theme show. What if we have Ref Connor and his lovely half, his better half, other half, come on, and we
Yeah,
do
we
something like that?
That'd be
What?
great. I'm
I mean,
sure she would
for
love that.
we're not sure yet what month we're gonna do it, whether it's gonna be like a February Valentine's themed kind of month thing,
Okay.
or where we can really put it to where we can get a lot of people in. But yeah, we wanted to do wrestlers and their couples. And what people don't understand is that referees take as many bumps as the wrestlers do, because
Absolutely.
initially they start off as a wrestler anyway.
Yes.
And then they either choose to do wrestling or they choose to ref or manager, something else to that effect.
Manager.
Yeah.
LA, whatever you. Yep.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think having a couples thing would be something that would be pretty darn great.
It would be interesting to see the outside perspective
Yeah.
because we all kind of are in the middle. I mean, maybe you guys more than me, but at this point, I feel like you guys are just as involved. So having the other perspective of the people who aren't involved, I think is invaluable.
Absolutely. 100%. I think you hit that right on the head, my friend.
Yes.
Anyhow,
Let's keep going with those questions.
so the next question for you, Connor, is like you're 27 and you've gotten over it almost nearly a decade of refereeing experience in. Like, where do you see this path leading or going to? Would you like to eventually make it to like a bigger promotion, like a AEW or a WWE? Where does Ref Connor's path go from here?
I would my goal, of course, like I'd love to, just meet the right couple of people and then be like, hey, he's a good ref. Let's see what he's got. I think I've got a lot to give, and I think I also would be more interested. Yeah, I'm good at a referee, but I like learning. I like learning different things. I'd like to learn sound and I'd like to learn commentary. It's not just a one facet for me. Just because I can't wrestle. I can referee, I can commentate, I could be behind the camera.
Yeah.
I'm wherever they need me to be, and I think that's a good tool.
Excellent question for our fans. And here's the thing too, is like you're being a referee, and we say this about the town all the time, is the sky's the limit. And for you being as young as you are with that much experience, the sky's the limit. And where you go is you make your own rocket ride, my friend, and you are on a good path to get to where you need to be.
I appreciate that greatly.
Yeah, like, no problem. And like if you, what would your dream match be as a referee?
Refereeing, on a Mania, refereeing on an All Out or something, of course. but also, refereeing one of my friends in the business's TV match, something like that, or like someone I know makes it and is like, hey, come ref my match for me. That
Now
would be a dream.
there is one that you've already refed previously that's on TV now.
There's a few at this point, actually.
He's
Yeah.
in NWA. He used to carry a megaphone around, and you refed him over in Houtzdale quite a few times. I'm gonna leave him unnamed right now. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, some people that went from the bottom and are in the top now.
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we can just see your growth, take off. And it's wonderful to see, when this is all said and done and you hang up the stripes, so to speak, what do you want your legacy to be as a referee? Or what do you think your legacy should be?
That I left where I worked better than when I came in. That I tried, and that anybody can look at my body of work and say he cared. No matter what heights or what lows, that I tried and I cared about what I was doing. For better or for worse. I just want people to know that I cared. That I'm a ref who wanted to be a ref.
And, and to hear you say that, you put that so eloquently, you have such a passion for this business and such a passion for the sport of wrestling. Your legacy is going to be, your legacy is going to be really well left behind. As a referee, I consider your legacy, when it comes down to it, to be with, some of the great referees of, the Earl Hebners, the Danny Davises, absolute legends. And
I take that.
I see you going that way. Seriously.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you greatly.
Well, Connor Barth, everyone, the man in stripes, the steady heartbeat of Asylum Pro Wrestling, and the invisible storyteller behind some of the wildest matches we've ever seen. Connor, thank you for pulling back a little hint of the curtain for us today. Before we wrap up, I want you to plug anything you've got going on. If you've got upcoming shows, appearances with other companies, projects you're dropping, merch, a book maybe one day, you never know.
The man behind the stripes.
Other people should know about. That sounds a good title.
Yeah, thank you. I will not be at the next Asylum show. However, it is January 17th. I will not be there because I'll be celebrating my anniversary with my missus. If I miss that, I will have to retire.
I think you'll be retiring somewhere in the dirt there, buddy.
Yeah, dirt nap.
Yes.
Rymaker Pro, continuing on. It's getting a lot of steam down there in West Virginia. Please check it out. SSW as well. Check out my Facebook. The next show, I think I've heard rumblings it's in the spring. And yeah, if there's anything else, my Facebook is the best place to check for venues and dates.
So as of right now, the closest part where people can come see you will be not the Asylum show in January, but maybe
Probably February, March. And, I haven't shouted them out, but Defiant Order Wrestling, DOW, they're killing it with Asylum right now.
Yeah.
And, they're just getting started too. They've been nothing but a lovely addition to the Asylum locker room, and both owners, you both take care of me and I greatly appreciate it.
Okay.
Just stay tuned for Asylum. Ref Connor's missed a handful, over the last 8 years, but I'm pretty relevant there, so I will be back.
You are a household name, my friend. Absolutely.
Now,
Yeah.
that is beautiful. Everybody should make sure they go to your Facebook, give you a follow you on Instagram.
Please.
Connor, come see Connor at those events and follow up with him on his social medias. Thank you for reffing and doing all that you do for the sport, and everybody else. Thank you for listening to the Canvas Kings podcast.
Episode number 2.
Give them a subscribe.
If you enjoyed the episode, hit like, drop a comment, share it with a friend, and tell us your favorite referee moments in wrestling history. We'll see you next time, right here where the story never ends. But it also might not end for Connor. We might have Connor back for his own little corner. Till next time, everybody, keep yourself on the right side of the canvas. Later.
This is our canvas. Every scar tells the story. Worn boots on steel, I'm carrying these dreams. Sweat and grit in the ropes, hear my battle cry scream. From dive bars to arenas, underdogs last stand. Every bruise is a promise, I bleed for this land. We rise from the ashes, we own every reign. Trust in our promise, feel the passion we bring. We are the canvas kings, we're writing our own fate. Heart of redemption, we never hesitate. From small gems to big lights, our story unfolds. In sweat and in glory, our legacy's told. Mama said fight for the love, Daddy said fight for the name. But I'm chasing something deeper, more than glory or fame. It's the roar of the people, the bond in the crowd. When you hit that canvas, you make your family proud. In every fight, we find ourselves and each other. We are the canvas kings, we're writing our own fate. Heart of redemption, we never hesitate. From small gems to bigger lights, our story unfolds. In sweat and in glory, our legacy's told. Ooh. Canvas Kings. This is where legends begin.